the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
So, we got something today.
And he came dressed appropriately for the studio.
Oh.
The thermals.
Do you want to know what the opposite of that is in the summertime?
My goodness. We did the 2 episodes when you were gone to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was
garage.
135 degrees, and I sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Your profuse sweater?
I am. And then we moved the next one over to my office, and then we set up, and then I ordered pizza, and remember, it never showed up. And so that entire episode is about when's the pizza gonna come.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot
right.
about that.
Yeah.
That's right. That was in your...
in my office.
Yeah. That was fun.
It was fun.
I mean, it was like mobile studio stuff.
Yeah.
We just rolled up and set up, and Chandler was there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I had forgotten exactly how that worked with equipment. Because you had
They brought a lot of stuff.
You brought this stuff from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because remember, I had taken it home because I was like...
That's right.
You were gone.
Right.
So I'm not going to just, like, hang out in your garage and do a show.
I forgot how we prepared the recording part.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I just took
stuff.
all the mics and everything home, and then
that's right.
we had a table and we set it up in the garage on that first week.
And then the second one was
In a conference room.
Yeah. Why did we do that? Was
Because
that easier for
because he
you?
had climate control?
Yeah, because
Oh,
I literally
RAC.
lost 5 pounds of sweat the week before.
I was doing you a favor
How?
by losing 5 pounds of sweat.
And we're off.
Yeah, there we go.
And attacking
Wow.
my weight.
Hey, it's usually, if it's not the weight, it's the hair.
That's why I have a hat on.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hazed again.
Like,
No.
I'm not the skinniest guy around.
Every week,
Okay.
it's like, hey, did you lose some more hair?
Mhm.
Thanks, Jim.
You didn't have any to lose.
I'm just going to go cry a little bit more before we start recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Anyway, welcome to the show, Sad Dads Club podcast.
What is this, 163?
4.
Jesus.
Isn't that cool?
Wow. That is kind of
is.
amazing.
If you
Yeah.
haven't picked it up, we have a third.
Yes.
We have Tony.
Yeah, Tony Overbay.
Gentlemen, what a pleasure.
Yeah, longtime friend.
Mm-hmm.
This is a person that I worked with for 10 years?
Yeah.
And we literally traveled the world together. And if you've been listening to the show long enough, actually co-hosted 2 episodes.
Right. While I was in the
Yeah.
UK.
First time that you and I have been in the same room together, though, because there were some conspiracy theories out there. That,
Yes, that you were Doppelfoo, or I
Yes.
was Doppeltony.
Exactly.
Yes. Because of the hair.
Well,
Yep.
you have more reverse head than he does. He's got a little beardy, and you've got way more.
yeah. Well,
You know?
it was this or No Nut November, so I went for the no shave. Oh my God. Oh, no. Well,
Yeah.
I'll handle the business, but I'll grow the beard. Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
we're good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what's been happening, Tony? You've got a nice little podcast over there.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But when you
Is
talk about
it keep you busy? Is it really keep you busy?
it's kind of insane. So
The virtual couch,
virtual
right?
couch, and I
Yep.
just think today was episode 294.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
So
And you
what's your episode schedule?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Once
Okay.
a week. And then I just started a new podcast called Waking Up to Narcissism.
Oh.
Because that's my special. I'm an expert witness in narcissism. I've testified in court cases. I've got a book coming out about that. And so I start this podcast up, and I really thought I would just kind of do it on the side.
Yeah.
And I think because it's this niche that it's already at as many downloads per episode as the virtual couch, which only took 4.5 years to get to. I had no
Wow.
idea it was coming. And I'm getting so many emails from that one. It's
I
insane.
think the
Wow.
the
It's crazy.
gaslighting thing is really a big deal at the moment.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah.
I read a lot about it, or I see a lot about it.
Mhm.
No,
No, you don't. See, I just gaslit him.
So
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
have?
There we go.
There we
Do
go.
you
And
have?
I'm angry now.
Do you structure that with your other podcast? How does that weigh in with your normal work then?
Oh, it's a very good question. So
He's lucky to be here. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that
it's
much.
and I so do not want to sound like the narcissist that I didn't testify in court cases against, but I have created this monster
Wait.
that I always thought I wanted.
Too
you know?
late.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
So the Virtual Couch podcast, 294 episodes, and I think I've been a guest on about 40 or 50 other podcasts
Mhm.
over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Including
it's like,
this one.
Yeah, and then the more content you put out, the more people hear about you, and the more they go listen to your back content, the more they contact you, and the more they ask you to be on other things.
Right. It cascades really
it's insane.
fast. Yeah.
And so then I put out this other podcast, and then I started the Virtual Couch Podcast Network. So then I put them under that network,
Mhm.
and then it's that narcissism one's finding a completely different audience.
Interesting.
And so,
Oh.
yeah, it's not. So I've been doing that one every Friday, and the virtual couch comes out every Tuesday or Wednesday.
So from a
So you do them at lunch?
I do them at 4 in the morning.
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
I do.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So we were blitzing through a whole bunch of tech earlier. So
Yeah.
from a nerd perspective, what do you use to record your stuff with?
Yeah, I dig this. So I have a Mac Mini, and then I have 2 monitors, and then I have a Blue Yeti microphone.
Snowball
and,
or
the Yeti? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeti.
And then I just
Wait,
I
isn't that
record
isn't that a drink beverage?
container holder. Yeah, but it doubles as a microphone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the power.
That's
of
You
why
just
the
they're-
you turn it upside
that's
down
why
and unplug the USB, and then you.
Yeah.
That's
It's
why
a-
they're so expensive, the Yeti coolers, is because they have a built-in mic.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
a
I
speaker.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
condenser.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
anyway,
sorry.
so-
And that's really it. And then I just got myself a desk that goes up and down because I really like standing when I podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He likes things that go up and down.
Whoa.
Ferris wheels, merry-go-rounds.
Tell us more about that world globetrotting you did.
I only know this because we've been to Disneyland at the same time a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we did in Tokyo Disneyland?
Wait, I didn't.
Didn't we?
No, I think you, or maybe
Whoa.
was it just I didn't actually get to do that one.
But we didn't go. We just ran in to get a T-shirt or a sweatshirt.
That
and it
wasn't. I didn't. No, I thought it was
didn't-
just.
See, watch me gaslight Jim.
Yeah, he is.
No, Jim, that was you.
That was you. That was all you.
Yeah, like, don't you remember telling me all about it? And that was like the
Yeah.
greatest moment of your life.
And you're like, oh,
Yeah, and then it's all I ever heard about was Tokyo Disneyland. Tokyo Disneyland. You don't remember
No,
that?
what was
That's crazy.
what was the dude that worked with us when he was like my manager when I first started there. It was Weiler's wife's.
Oh, Mark.
Mark. I swear it was Mark. Bought a ticket. He went like at lunch and bought a ticket and went in and bought a shirt, but he spent a crap load of money on a ticket, which is funny because you
Isn't
can
this
get.
funny? I really thought it was Jim.
No, it
That's
wasn't
what's
me.
crazy.
really?
Yeah, I think it was Jim.
No, it wasn't because I would never
Let me
spend that
text
kind
Mark,
of money.
Were you ever there?
It was
Mark said
certainly
no.
him.
Mark said no.
It certainly was, but he was. I remember he was. We were at the booth and he was like super late getting back, and it was like
Mhm.
because I had to buy a ticket to get in to buy a shirt. But the thing that's funny about Disneyland is you can get those shopping passes. Did you even know that?
No. Do you know my story of the shopping pass, Jim?
Yeah, I do.
What?
I think I broke the shopping pass for people
You may very well
because
may
it's
have.
no longer available, I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went there to get fudge. I was staying in a hotel across from Disneyland, and my wife wanted fudge. And so I was down there for some other business, speaking something.
She wasn't actually there.
No. And so then I just said, oh, I'll see if they'll just let me in. And they said, oh, we've got a 1-hour shopping pass. And I said, thank you. And you have to hand their credit card over. And so then I get through the gates, and all of a sudden I was like,
Wait.
I got an hour. And I dead sprint to the up and down one.
California
The
Dream
drop-
Screaming.
They had the drop thing first. That
Oh,
one's
yeah,
gone
yeah,
now.
yeah,
And so I
yeah.
did that, and I'm like, I think I could do California Screaming.
Yeah.
I think I could do, and I'm going, and back to the sweat. I was sweating bullets. I remember at one point I run up to the line of California Screaming, and I run, and I stop, and you know how then the sweat hits. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
got these
yeah.
like teenage girls in front of me, and I stop, and all of a sudden it's all whoosh, you know, and I look like a creep.
Yeah.
That reminds me of
Say,
the bathroom.
is that a clasp in the
right.
back or the front?
Like
when you rush to the bathroom and then you sit down and you're like, oh, and then the sweat comes.
Yes.
That's the same thing.
So then I've like
Yeah.
I do as many rides as I can, and I'm like I am about to get my credit card charged for a day, and so I go sprinting and I'm running. I'm like the fudge, you know, and I don't know if they like they'll I don't know if they'll like say you must have fudge or we'll.
Right.
So then I make a beeline. I get the fudge. I run there and I make it by like a minute, and then I just said, oh, I got the fudge, and she literally said, how many rides you go on? You know, and I was like, I don't know if I should say. And
Right.
I said 7, and she's like, okay, the record's like 10.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
Yeah.
they knew.
They knew, but then about
They're
2
like
or 3
watching
years
them
later,
on surveillance.
yeah, I went in. It's like I would like the 1-hour shopping pass, please. And they said, oh, we don't do that. And they said some bald, sweaty guy ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
He only went on 7 rides.
We caught some Western states fool. Bink, 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 bink.
I mean,
we had to nip that one in the bud.
I mean, you'd have to be pretty lucky to go on that many rides, considering most of the time the waits are
Yeah, there was no wait.
45 minutes. You
Yeah.
know, especially California Screaming or whatever.
Yeah,
That's probably at least 30 minutes.
that was fun.
But that's funny. I love that story.
It's a good story.
Yeah. But yeah, back in the day, I mean, we did all kinds of stuff because I was thinking about this the other day, knowing that you were coming on the show. I'm a very nostalgic person. I think about a lot of this stuff. But when the Galleria opened,
Oh,
we used to go and hang out as families at
Oh,
the
yeah.
Galleria and have dinner together.
That's right.
At the food
Pluto's
court.
or whatever.
Yeah, we would go to the food court and we would just chill and have dinner at the food court. Now, this is before it became like Westfield. This is the original, and before it like expanded when the when the food court was like right in the middle and it was upstairs and we used to do all kinds of stuff like that. In like Disneyland, we spent time at Disneyland together.
Are your kids roughly the adult?
Alex
and
is a
gone?
little bit younger than Chandler, I think.
Yeah, she's like 23.
Yeah, Chandler's 24.
Okay.
And then after that, he's got like 40 kids.
Yeah, 35.
And I think like 15 of those he doesn't even know about.
Right.
I mean, I've heard of them.
Right.
Baker's dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they look like him on the driver's ID.
Yeah.
Yes.
He gets these letters in the mail and he's like, I don't even, what, another one?
Yeah. Oh.
That's why I work a lot, gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why you run to each Disneyland ride.
Right.
Because you never know.
No.
That's right.
Right.
I have to tell you though, Fu, what I love is that your podcast I really enjoy, and I feel like after a day of therapy, and sometimes when I'm mentally fried, it is just a nice, relaxing, just listening to it,
Just
and then usually
dumbing down.
Well, part of it is you guys talk about fixing things and building things, which I don't know how to do any of those. So I live a little bit vicariously. I'm like, oh yeah, 2x4s. You know, I think that makes sense.
Well,
Lumber.
you're a licensed family therapist, so you're fixing something.
That's right, I am.
I hope so. Anyway.
That's right.
Otherwise,
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting that, you know. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So
as self-review,
yes,
as someone that we know,
how
you
fucked up are we?
co-hosted early on, are we doing okay?
yeah. I feel like here's the way for me to work in humble brags about myself.
Okay.
But so
There
I'll
you
make
go.
it about me, right?
Yeah.
You know, one time I headlined a podcast festival in Salt Lake City called the Outlier Podcast Festival, but that's beside the point. But
Hey,
no, I
you've
really
never gotten a thing about that.
okay. Honest, the funny story about that is, and I'm going to blame this one on I don't know ADHD maybe, but I was invited to go out there, and I go out there, and then it's like on day 2, and I'm sitting there watching other people talk, and they all had these things that they were talking about, and I can't lie, I'm like pulling up their podcast, I'm like, these guys only have like 50 reviews, and, you know, mine's a little more popular than that. Then I'm looking at the next one, and oh, these guys don't only have, and all of a sudden I realize, oh, I'm last, and I thought, oh, I'm like the final speaker.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
right.
That's nerve wracking.
What was that? So, but that one, the reason I bring that up is that my whole thing was about people being very authentic with their podcast, because that was when podcasts were starting to explode,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and people were like, okay, what's hot? And I'll talk about it. But then it wouldn't last because they were trying to be something that they weren't, or talk about things they really didn't know about.
Right.
So what I dig about you guys is you just talk about stuff you know, stuff that you get, you like,
No,
or
we
whatever.
don't.
So it feels very authentic.
Yeah.
We know none
and then
of
we
it.
have our wives or friends cross-check us and
Yeah.
hate on us when we get it wrong. But I'm glad that we're the same, and I think we've said that multiple times. Like, it's almost guy therapy.
Oh,
just
yeah.
to be sitting around
Yeah.
jabber-jawing about it. So it's just good to get just talk about random stuff anyway.
Well, that's
'Cause-
probably, it's funny you say that. That's probably what I really enjoy is just listening to you guys just talk. And then I have texted you several times because then I'll end up maybe not finishing the episode, and then I'll take it along with me on a run,
Mhm.
and then you will say something very funny, or that's exactly the case, and I will stop and send Jim a text.
Yeah.
Would he share those with you?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was
He
fun.
gets
Yeah.
screenshots.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So, okay, so running.
Okay.
I'll get you in here. Trust me. I know you're not a runner.
We already talked about you in Tokyo Disneyland.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm out.
So, the thing that I've been training for a half marathon.
Yeah.
So I took off most of. I think I stopped running in March of 2020 after the SIM, California International Marathon. So
Yeah.
didn't do it as well as I wanted. I started training then for a half. See, I see you fucking with the Zoom over there. Then I started training for a half just because I figured I was still in shape.
Yeah.
I stopped. I ran my best PR half in March of 2020, then COVID.
Yeah.
Then I stopped running. So I'm retraining. It's a little bit harder to get the wheels back on the
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks ago, I was running with Venus.
My bus doesn't have any wheels.
And I think I was listening to classical music, but I was just out running, and it had been a while, but I hit this breathing and steps cadence thing
Mm.
where I had not hit that in since I've been running since probably 2017.
Okay.
And it was the most bizarre way to keep me like on pace. And I told Venus when we got done with the run, I'm like, did you hear me breathing? Because I had like this almost like
Step, breathe.
Step,
Yeah.
breathe. And it was however I was matching the beat with because you get these like things about the perfect cadences.
Right. 180 or
pros are
whatever.
running
Yeah.
180 and blah blah blah. I'm never that fast.
Yeah.
But I have sped up from my like casual jog of like 160-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But I had hit this sweet spot kind of out of nowhere, and I'm like, was that weird? And she's like, I wasn't really paying attention. And then it was like a random Wednesday. The next day, I tried to hit it again, and I was close, but I wasn't there. Do you, as someone that has, as Jim has explained, seem to be much more proficient in athletics, do you have that when you run? Like, have you reached that? They call it flow.
Yeah.
In game design.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it transcends. But like basketball, it would be like hot hand, or you're in a
Yeah.
groove. I get that. So do you have that?
Yeah.
When you run, you
Yeah.
have like a...
So it's funny. So I've tried heart rate training, I've tried cadence training, I've tried all of those sort of things. And then I felt like maybe 2 or 3 years into just running all the time,
Mhm.
I always feel like my body just said, fine, he's going to do it anyway. So let's make it pretty efficient.
Okay.
And so I do feel like, and when I started with, a good 5K and a 10K, and then I did a half marathon.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do a marathon. And it was the CIM was the
Mhm.
first one I did. And I did one of those, and then I did it again the next year, and I thought, I could probably do a marathon every year. And then after that, then I did another one, and then all of a sudden I thought, I want to run Boston. So then I started doing 2 or 3, trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon.
Okay.
Then I started doing about one every couple of months because I missed the Boston qualifier by 1 minute. Then I missed it by a minute and a half. So at that point, I'm getting in better shape. And so then I qualified and I did Boston. And then I thought, what's next? So I did a 50K. So that's like 32 miles.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, that was kind of cool. So I did a 50 miler. And then I did a 100K, which is 62 miles. Then I did a 100 miler. And so then I was just addicted. And part of it was, it just started to just be, I felt like I could just go all day. And it was finding that flow,
Okay.
that zone.
Perfect.
It was so
yeah,
cool.
because I think there's a difference between physical fitness and like, I'm doing a thing because body image, or you're trying to change something, or you're just trying to occupy time.
Yeah.
Versus the flow.
And you really feel like you could do it all
Right,
day long.
right. So I wrote down what it was, so that way it would be something that I would know you would understand. So mental state of operation in which the person is fully immersed in whatever she is doing, a state and feeling of energized focus, full involvement and success in the process of the activity. Now, I would also describe that not necessarily with me running, but we have discussed this like this. I get the same thing when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
So, to you, Jim, my question is: what is yours?
Ooh.
I don't know if you
Heroin.
We've talked about enjoying driving.
Yeah.
And loosely skating, but I don't know if I have ever heard you actually say what you've done that gives you flow.
I know what it is.
What is it?
I know what it is. And it's something that Jim doesn't like to talk about a lot.
Oh, I'm interested now.
Oh yeah,
I'm on the hook.
Ballet dancing.
Oh, is it?
Have you seen this man plie?
Yeah. Is it like?
It's amazing.
Well,
the pirouettes.
What
What is that for you?
I just really like onesies.
Hey, yoga pants.
I
dude.
mean,
Guys
I
don't wear them, right?
What?
Guys, I was saying to my wife, with all the people wearing yoga pants, I don't see guys wearing them. Not that I
he
want
does.
to.
Oh, I do.
Okay,
In a
what
heartbeat.
is that like?
He's got men's.
It is amazing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I might do it just for research then.
Yeah, do it for science.
Yeah, for science. For
Okay.
sure.
But Jim,
'cause
that flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your flow?
Well, I mean, I haven't played in a long time, but soccer is really.
What is it?
Oh.
What do you mean?
No, so that is.
Yeah.
But so you haven't had that kind of zone thing since you've played soccer? Like, you don't have a like chasing a passion for that like focus?
I mean, ask your wife.
Oh shit!
Oh, God.
Wow. Well done.
There we go. I was
Yeah,
waiting for
you
one of those.
hammered that one.
Okay, funny story about soccer though.
These are jokes that go back and forth.
oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
So do you remember playing indoor soccer?
oh hell yeah.
So I fancied myself as an athlete and not Jim. And he would talk of this soccer that he was good at.
Yeah.
So then he said, we should play indoor soccer. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And this guy killed me. I didn't know actually that like you would hit the ball on the walls and run around me. And I was very
Indoor
humbled.
is tough game.
That was hard.
What? Oh, so this would be in your 20s plus then?
Yeah.
So when
there
was the
used to
last
be.
time you actually played?
I don't know. I played some outdoor league and then I played an indoor. I don't know. It's been a while. It's
Jim
been
was
a long
good, though.
time.
Very good footwork.
I was
it
good
doesn't,
soccer player.
it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But it was like it's been so long. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
They-
Well, I
so
mean,
you-
I used to coach like for Chandler's soccer. I was like assistant coach.
yeah.
I mean, not that that's like cred or anything, but I did it because I really enjoyed soccer and like, being around Chandler for sure. And I remember we did this one team that he was on. We did a parents versus the kids game. Oh my God. I just loved that.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. And I remember at one point we got a corner kick and I set up at the corner and like put one right in the zone and one of the other dads just bonk headed it in and I ran around like I just won the World Series, man. It was the bomb.
Because we talked, at length of like mental health and whatnot. I just thought it was weird that I had realized, like, when I hit that thing, I'm like, it was like, I wasn't looking for it.
Sure.
But it just kind of happened at a pace. It was almost surreal in like how it fell in. I'm like, this is just like the drive that we had with Mike and Data's. It was like, I'm in a space, like space-time just kind of does like a thing.
Well, can you induce it? Do you is it something that just happens?
I
or?
feel like you find it and then your body starts to want it and then you go back to that place often. I mean, it really is a happy place. And so when you came out, I used to run around the track in Lincoln for 24 hours to raise money for all the schools. I did for like 6 years.
I'm pissing Coke.
That was yes. But that was where I would find there would be some weird spot about midnight, 1, 2 a.m. where I don't know, I've been running 16 hours or something like that, and I got about 7 more to go. And there weren't as many people out on the track, and it was quiet. And that place, that was just this. Yeah, whoa, it was good. It was just something.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I would think that you'd be second guessing some of your choices at that point.
No, because it's just doing it. And so I used to go speak to the schools about it, and it was funny because when I would, they'd say, "Oh, why do you run that far?" And I would make jokes and say, "Because so I can eat lots of ice cream, kids." But on the inside, I'm saying, so that I don't want to go run into traffic.
Because it's euphoric.
Yeah, and I would always say that the days I wouldn't run, I felt shorter, fatter, balder. I was a worse husband, father. It's like that just became this. It was my happy place.
Yeah. Perfect description. Yeah. It was just
He's
weird.
nuts. That's what I'm saying.
What? How do you don't really talk about your happy place? I'm like, man.
I don't. I mean, I feel like I look at, like, especially now. So usually about 1 o'clock, I take the dog for a walk. Okay.
Yeah.
And I walk through the park, and I look over, and right now the soccer fields are set up. And I got the dog on the leash, and I'm just looking, and that is where we practice. That's where we played with the kids.
Okay.
And I look at that corner every day.
Yeah.
And I just go, man, I want to go out there with my cleats on and the soccer ball and just kick around or something.
We're gonna have to recreate this.
Yeah. Well, that's probably where I feel like now all of a sudden the kickball thing makes a little bit more sense.
There we go.
Like you need to kick a ball.
I do.
Preferably not one between someone's legs.
I do. When we talk about kickball, it goes all the way back to 6th grade.
Okay.
Like I never really played kickball. We played football and baseball, like in the neighborhood. And then we moved to Sacramento.
Yeah.
And kind of that stuff kind of went away, except I did play soccer, right? But in 6th grade, I remember, oh, dang, they play kickball out like at recess and crap. I'm going back to 6th grade for me, right? And I remember the way that they had the kickball thing diamond set up was the left field was the roof. So if you were gonna kick a ball on the roof, it was a home run. A roofer was a home run. So guess where I put it every time? It was a roofer.
Oh, you got some legs.
Yes, he does.
Woof.
Yeah. And I have a very accurate foot. That was the other thing. I mean, I played soccer from when I was like 7 or 6, all the way up through U19s.
Yeah.
So it was was my
there's your sway.
yeah. And you know what? It was really a bummer for me. It was really a bummer was that last team I got signed up on, and like getting ready to start and getting a call. Oh, we didn't get enough people, and then that was sort of the end of competitive soccer for me.
Yeah.
And I turned down at one point. There was a soccer club I really wanted to play for, and I tried out several times, and it was apparently, from what I understand, it was very political, trying to get on a team, and I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody like vouching for me or whatever. I was just an outsider coming to this club. It was the club I wanted to play for.
Right.
But I turned down a sure shot for another club to play because I wanted to play for that club. So sometimes you kick yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figuratively.
That was
yes.
That was one of those for me. That's my spot.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to find out what that club was.
Yeah.
We're gonna go get Jimmy a jersey, and we're gonna play.
I don't need to relive that.
Put it on there.
But yeah. I mean, you know, it's just I flip through channels on the TV, and like Premier League or some like MLS games on it. I don't even care who's playing. I'm watching.
Okay, so was it you? We went to France together one time, right? At Macworld, France or Paris?
I did not go to
Don't make me
Paris.
text Mark again.
No, I did not go to Paris.
Okay.
Paris with.
See, memory is crazy. I feel like somewhere in Europe we were watching soccer on TV, and I wanted to make fun of it, but you were really enjoying it.
I don't remember that, but I know for sure I did not go
gaslighting
to.
me now?
Yeah. What?
I feel crazy.
Both of you have the most diverse yet the same.
Yeah.
I think you were in the same places, but you have separate stories.
I mean, we did go to London.
I never went to London.
Yeah, you did.
Oh shit!
No, I went to London a lot.
Because of the undershirt. You know exactly
Yes, I
what I'm
do.
talking about. But
Yeah, I got my undershirt.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we did that, but I never made it to France with the company.
I don't feel like
And I
Jim
think
and I
it
would
was
be a
Rich.
good improv
I think
team.
it was Rich
because
Van-
I feel like he isn't yes-anding me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we were improv team, it'd be a whole nother. That's a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
I would be
Okay,
like, oh yeah.
Do you want to hear something fascinating about memory?
Yeah.
Go.
So there's a book called On Being Certain that I'm fascinated by right now. And do you know this
Memory's
book?
terrible.
Oh.
No, but I have a story regarding this exact thing.
Okay, so in this book, the author talks about when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded.
Oh, okay.
That there was a psychology professor at a college, and then he took the next day. Then it was 200 and something students, and he said, write down everything that you remember about what happened yesterday.
Okay.
Then 2.5 years later, he goes back and he says, hey, write down everything you remember about what happened 2.5 years ago. And it was phenomenal how they were different. Over 50% of the people wrote completely different narratives
of their own
experience, and then there was, I think it was 10 to 15% even had this. They have a name for the phenomenon, but they even said, "I know that is my handwriting, and that's what I wrote the day after, but I must have been traumatized because this 2.5 years later, that's what happened." So we cannot trust our memory.
No.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm right, but now you can see why I know Jim is wrong.
But you watch any of the
I'm being gaslit.
The God, what it was years and years ago. It was one of those perception videos. The guy in Vegas that does a sleight of hand.
David
Apollo.
Blaine or no?
Apollo.
Apollo Ono.
Yeah, I think that's it.
No, that's a figure skater.
No. I think it just goes by Apollo.
Apollo.
He's a Vegas sleight of hand guy.
Okay.
In that vein, there was a video of it's kind of like a pan shot, and there's a series of people, like a crowd, like all mingling about, and the camera just goes side to side, and then it stops, and it says at the end of the video, it says, "Did you see the gorilla?"
Oh, I did a podcast on this.
And
I did.
And I went, no, there's no gorilla. And I think it shows you it does it slower, and because you know that there's a gorilla in it, you see, like, in the mingling of the crowd, the gorilla, like,
oh, it's going crazy.
You cannot miss it.
Well, this is why humans are really bad at like jury, or not jury, but like
witness
stuff or
Yes.
like.
So it was that, and then subsequently later in like watching some of the guys doing like TED Talks where the Apollo guy, he'll take off your
away.
watches,
Yes.
and he'll just short of undress you and swap clothes with you without you knowing, as he like memory jams
Yeah. So much stimulus coming in.
so much stimulus that it was even your own accounts of things that you're 100% positive for. Even if you consider yourself like, I'm a very perceptive person, I take in all stuff all the time, but then being cross-checked by this simple thing where like, I know 100%, I'm admitting to myself, I didn't see that gorilla.
Yeah.
And yet it was there. So clearly I can't, you have to afford yourself some bias or incorrectability in your own perceptions of stuff.
So your brain remembers that it pictures things in fragments, but it can't handle fragments, so then it fills in the blanks as well.
Right.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
So my brother.
But thank you for validating that Jim is wrong.
I appreciate that. I'm down.
There was this show that happened at the Cattle Club in Sacramento at one point years ago, and it was the opener was Alice in Chains, or the headliner was Alice in Chains. The second band was Mookie Blaylock.
I remember you talking about them.
Yeah, and that was now Pearl Jam, right? So
okay.
And the opener of the show was my brother's band, which I always thought was a specific band.
Oh.
But then I saw a flyer for that show at another show that I went to like 2 years ago, and it was another one of my brother's bands that I didn't even remember.
99 Tales?
Well, that was the band I thought it was.
Look at that memory.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
But it was, I don't even remember the name of the other
I thought that was
band.
going to be a joke. I didn't.
Me too, kind of.
Yeah.
No.
That
was the name that was the name of one of his bands. Was
it?
99 Tales, yeah.
So you were.
But it wasn't 99 Tales. I always thought it was, and when I tell the story to people, like, oh yeah, I saw Alice in Chains.
98 Feet was the name of the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the other band was, but it was. I was wrong, and
But you
like
were
threw
dead
me.
set on.
Yeah, I knew it was 99 Tales, but it wasn't 99 Tales. It was
Point of fact.
whoever that.
Do you want to hear another crazy thing?
Go.
Okay, so the reason I got obsessed by this book is it also talked about that we have the entire narrative of how we operate as human beings wrong. So the book had a study that talked about they had a guy sitting in front of two buttons, left and right hand, and he was hooked up to a functional brain scan. And so you could see they just said, we just want you to press buttons, left, right, and they could read which button he was going to press up to 7 seconds before he pressed it. So your brain is already making the decision.
Oh, wow.
And so and I said on one of my podcasts, this book comes with a free existential crisis. You know, do we even have free will?
Right.
And so we are the only species. Every other animal in the animal kingdom sees something and they say, I will kill that, I will eat that, I will have sex with that, I will run away from that. But then we are the only ones that then it's called a relational frame. We put two things together and so we compare. That microphone's better than that one. Or, I like this better than that. Or
I'm certainly not going to have sex with a microphone.
Okay,
hey,
we can talk about that.
Hey, man,
But so then what we do is then so we still though react. So this is showing that we already make a reaction based on all the stuff that we have been through in our lives. Like everything that we bring up to that very moment, our brain is already making a decision. And then since we have two hemispheres, this little gray matter that tries to make sense of things, then we quickly then create a narrative to explain why we did what we did. So we think that we make the decision and then do the action, but we actually do the action and then make the decision because we are reacting in any given moment. Our brain's doing 2,000 different calculations based on everything we've been through, nature, nurture, birth order, DNA, abandonment, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then we react and then our brain says, that's why we did it. And then so then, but there's the existential crisis. But then what this data shows is that this is so fascinating to me. So then it shows that, right? So if you want to start to do something different, you have to then, instead of trying to figure out why I did it, you can't think your way out of a thinking problem. You have to just acknowledge that's what I did and then take action and do something different. You have to create these new neural pathways.
Oh, wow.
So, and then the more you think about things, so the more you feel these anxiety and I got to figure it out and what's wrong with me and all that stuff, you're creating even deeper rutted neural pathways, which then lead you to say, you know what, I'll just do it tomorrow. Then your brain's like, oh, that's what we do. So we overthink things and then we put it off till tomorrow. So when you recognize I am thinking, I am ruminating, I am wondering,
right?
How adorable. Thank you, pink squishy brain.
Right.
Then I'm going to take action on something that really matters. And then when you lay your foot off the gas, you go right back to those old patterns of behavior. So it shows that it takes a lot longer than 3 weeks to create a new habit.
Oh.
And it shows that, the importance of, man, I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're good.
So this is the stuff I could talk about all day
This is
long.
why you're here.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, okay, I don't even know where to start now. I was got all excited. So we do so many things wrong. So when I've been doing therapy for, 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And I started out as a cognitive behavioral therapist, and this is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and every influencer, every motivational speaker, and most therapists are CBT therapists.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what you'll hear, and it's where they say that your thoughts lead to your emotions, and your emotions lead to your behaviors. So then they just say, your thoughts are these, your stinking thinking, or your automatic negative thoughts, or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to, change the thought, and it'll lead to a different emotion and a different behavior. So, but as a therapist, you could run through that all day long in a session, but then the client goes out in the wild, and then it doesn't work.
It's
so
ruts.
let me give you the example. So I worked with this guy that was like 400 pounds. He'd lost 200 pounds. So then he was trying to go out into the dating world. So he, again, had lost 200 pounds. So he had a lot of social anxiety. So he would go into these singles events, and then he would open the door, and people would look at him, and he would think, oh, they think I look horrible. So as a cognitive behavioral therapist, you're saying, okay, that's an automatic negative thought. That's your stinking thinking.
Right.
You need to change that thought to say, or maybe they think I look awesome. Or maybe they're just looking past me. And then you drill that into their head. They leave the office. They're like, yeah, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the next event. They open the door. Everybody looks at him, and he's like, maybe they think I look awesome. And then their brain says, no, they still think you look like you're 400 pounds.
Oh my
and
God.
so then you get to say, oh man, what's wrong with me? You know?
Right.
So what, and it always felt like it just didn't feel right. So literally when I'm seeing that client, I go to this training for a thing called acceptance and commitment therapy. And this has changed my world. It's been my whole podcast and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's new therapy. It's like 20 years old, but there's like 4,000
20
evidence-based
years is
studies,
new.
right? Because CBT is like 70 years old or 80 years.
Okay.
But so then acceptance and commitment therapy says acceptance, you're the only version of you. This is these deeply rooted neural pathway kind of gig. So you think, feel, and behave the way you do because you are a human being and you're the only version of you. So he's the only person that has been him that was 400 pounds and everybody stared at him and everybody made fun of him. Then he loses 200 and then he goes into a place and people look at him and they think I still look fat. So this is why when you tell somebody, well, don't think that. They're like, it doesn't work.
Right.
I am thinking that.
That is
Right.
his reality.
Yeah. So then acceptance and commitment therapy is awesome. So instead of saying you have an automatic negative thought or you're broken, something's wrong with you, you say, oh yeah, if you didn't think that would be insane. You know?
Because
So-
this is where I came from.
Yeah, it's like your acceptance. It's like,
Okay.
oh, okay, so I'm thinking that. So that's where it's like, oh, check that out. That's what I'm thinking. So then if you say, okay, so now I want to start figuring out what matters to me, you figure out what your values are. So he has this value of connection with other human beings. So he has a value-based goal of I need to connect with others. So then when he goes in there and people look at him and he says, makes sense, this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
That's okay.
It is what
But
it
then
is.
my value-based goal is connection. So I am now going to walk in there and connect with others. And so then your brain says, well, yeah, but they maybe think you look fat. And then you get to go, okay, not even arguing that.
Yeah.
Not where that maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
acceptance, right?
Right.
Interesting.
And then I like just note it, and then I start walking in, and it's so fascinating because you'll watch that anything that you start to do, your brain's going to say, well, yeah, but, and those yeah buts are trying to get you back to this deeply rooted neural
Right.
pathway,
Okay, so
right?
so at some point, do the yeah buts start to wane?
Yeah, and
Right.
literally
Neural
like,
pathways,
yes,
right? You
Now all of a
start-
sudden it's like, okay, go in,
Right.
Yeah, just do it.
Because other fun fact, and again, stop me but this is so cool. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
because you're
We're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So because
We just wanted a night off.
okay, I get it. So because your brain is working off of this flawed premise that it really does think that it has a finite amount of electrical activity. So everything that you do in repetition, then it puts it into this little walnut-sized part of your brain called the basal ganglia. Also, would be a cool
Yeah.
name for a band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
They would open for 97 feet, right?
Yeah.
But when something goes in the habit center, it takes a lot less electrical activity. So if you look at a brain scan of somebody doing something new, it might take 70-80%
whole
of electrical
bunch.
activity. But
Yeah.
if you're looking at the brain scan of somebody tying their shoe, it takes like 8% electrical
Yeah.
activity.
Mhm.
So the more your brain says, this is what we do, then it puts it into your habit center, and then you use less electrical activity. So your brain's like, sweet, we can live forever. So everything you're doing, it's trying to convince you, this is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. Whether it's good or bad, whether it's a thought or a behavior. So you have to then recognize that this is what I'm doing
Yeah.
and then do something else. And that's your brain's yeah buts is saying, well, yeah, but if we go in there, then maybe people make fun of you. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I will invite that with me while I go
So
in there.
here's
How cool is this?
I'll put this into my. So we've talked at like my anxiety of like social anxiety. So We run into this thing with the RV that my brother and his sister-in-law and my nieces were staying in because of a house fire.
Oh, I remember that.
So
yeah.
the tires on the RV, one tire on the RV during the summer heat blew, so the tire had to get replaced. So there's a whole series of net news for me. One being that my wife is now employed, so she would do a lot of like the call around, and I'm just going to do the hard work. I'm going to get the tire off the RV. I'm going to take it down. But my apprehension and anxiety in calling a business to like, see, do you have inventory? And the not knowing how the conversations would go are like almost like a yeah, but.
Yes.
Like you're not going to know the answer to some things that these guys are going to ask you, and that starts to like lock me down.
So perfect.
But the end result was Venus is busy. Venus is gone.
She's not here.
She can't do the footwork.
Right.
Yeah.
It's my RV. I'm not going to put that on my dad. That would be, this is trivial. So the bottom line was I had a free day. This was something that I just had to handle.
Do. Yeah.
I'm going to get the tire off. I'm going to take it down to Auburn, and I'm not going to know how the interaction is going to go. I have to get the tire replaced because
but
it's not,
right here they
right,
come. And you're like, okay.
Here's the yeah, but and bottom line is I had to get out of the I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe I can just do it next week when it's a holiday for the week and Venus could help and do some phone call stuff.
Yeah.
But it was I have to get past the yeah buts.
It's so good.
Because this has to get done.
When
Yeah,
I say
it's so good.
When I say yeah, butts, I'm saying it for a whole nother reason.
Yeah.
Butts.
Hey.
But and then there's a cool thing called expansion, which is then I am gonna acknowledge those yeah buts and I'm gonna invite them along. We got a Peloton bike at one point during the pandemic, and there was one I was trying to put a streak together for no reason. And this is again the acceptance and commitment therapy part where if somebody was like, well, why? It's like, because I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know? And somebody's like, well, you shouldn't and whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't have to convince someone else that this is what I want to do. So one night I came home and it was late and I had seen a bunch of clients and I hadn't eaten and all that stuff. And so then I thought, well, I need to ride on the Peloton. And then my brain said, well, yeah, but it's probably not going to be a good ride. I'm like, probably not, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, but you haven't eaten much that day. I'm like, I have not, you know? And it was so funny to watch all
so
the
you're
reasons.
having a conversation in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'm doing it out loud so my wife will laugh.
Oh, for real?
Not really.
Oh.
But so then I'm putting on my bike stuff or whatever. I go down there and then my brain's like, this is going to be a horrible ride. You're not going to go very fast. It's going to be one of your, and I'm like, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this isn't the Disney story of where, and you know what, guys? It was the greatest. No, it sucked. Absolutely sucked. But expansion is inviting all those to come along with me while I do the activity.
But what if your
It's
acknowledgement
fascinating.
of like, yeah, you're right, turns into, okay, I give up.
Then your brain
Does
gotcha.
that happen?
Oh, it can happen. And then it's like, oh, you
Does it happen
rascal
to
brain.
you?
I mean,
Rascal brain.
Not now, but here's why. This is another part
Okay.
part two of this really cool thing is then you start to find out what we do that we really don't like doing or we don't care about doing. And so if it isn't something that really is something that matters to you, like a real
Right.
value,
Uh-huh.
it's called a socially compliant goal. So I'm doing it because I think I have to or I'm going to let somebody else down. And if you are living by these socially compliant goals, then that's when you can get caught up in the yeah buts. Because then they have this thing called experiential avoidance. I'll find anything else to do other than the thing that I don't really care about.
Right.
I loved working with you, Jimmy, especially the trip to Japan, the whole Tokyo thing,
Right.
Disneyland. But I realized, I did not enjoy the work I was doing.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a socially compliant goal. So
Yeah.
every day we were trying to find things to do instead of the work, right?
Yeah.
Now that I do something I actually like,
Mhm.
I love it
Right.
and I want to do it and I want to pour myself into it. And I didn't realize like what those socially compliant goals were like until you get away from them.
I mean,
you know?
we were talking about this, about how we would take breaks
Oh my gosh.
pretty frequently and go play log,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, that was pretty frequent
Oh,
in the workday.
For like 2 years,
Yeah.
our boss was building a home.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just
So it'd
left
be
like
like,
feral
hey,
cats.
Let's
you know?
go. Let's go take a break and play
Yeah.
log.
Oh my gosh.
And we would go shoot hoops for like half an hour or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had so many games that we would do.
Oh yeah.
GMFVS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all this stuff.
Score
But
early,
isn't that-
score often.
That's right. The beast. But isn't that crazy though? So I feel like my whole job has changed once it was not trying to tell somebody or just think this, you know. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh no, you're human. Now what do you actually really want to do? And then even then somebody's like, yeah, but I really shouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, says who? And then you
Right.
start realizing, oh, my values are pretty much based off of what my parents have said or society said or my church has said. And it's like,
Now I'd imagine for you, because you've had a couple other irons in the fire post us working together.
Yeah.
And those, I would imagine, also became one of those.
Socially compliant goals.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why every day, I mean, I hate to even tell you how many seasons of things I bought on Apple or iTunes back in the day when you had to buy things. Because I would just watch another episode, experiential avoidance. I'll do the thing that I really don't give a crap about after I watch this episode.
Right.
I'll do it after this next one.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, and I always make this joke that, and then by if midday's done, then it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. Right. And then if it's like Wednesday, then Monday, I'm going to start it then. If it's like the 16th of the month, and it's like, you know what? First of the month. That's my time. And if it's July, then it's like nothing beats the beginning of the year. So you can put things off, like nobody's business.
Yeah.
But if you're actually doing things that you care about, then I can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
well,
trip.
and also you were doing some of that was techie things, and so when you're even though you came when I met you, you were working for a software company.
Yes.
And then you had what was the next thing?
Disc duplicator.
Oh yeah, the disc jockey, Discology.
Yep.
And then you had Perfect Lock Bolt.
Oh yeah.
Was that interesting?
That honestly was one of the coolest technologies ever.
Yes, I agree.
And it would have like revolutionized the fastener industry. How is that not exciting?
Now,
but it was ultimately
Flugel binders. What?
We had this dual threaded
really cool technology.
lock. It was insane.
Yeah, really cool.
But
technology.
we got it to the point where it costs like 60 cents to make a nut and a bolt.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though it was this dual threaded nut and bolt thing that formed a lock and all this stuff, every other nut and bolt in the world was
way
2 cents.
cheaper.
Yeah.
And so then people were like, that's amazing, but then we'll just keep replacing the ones that vibrate off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we even got an installation one time on this shaker equipment at this mine in the middle of, I don't know, Nevada or something. And then within a week, they sent us these pictures, and it had been sabotaged. So we had like one of the second lock bolt or nut was a different color. And so some of the people that were doing the installation literally then put it on wrong, so it would vibrate out because they realized that, okay, we're going to cost some jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. But I did spend all my retirement in that company, so that was fun.
Well, you know what's funny is I've looked it up.
Yeah.
Recently.
Okay. I have not.
I was trying to figure out what was going on with it.
Yeah.
Because
we're talking about lock bolt.
Yeah, perfect lock bolt.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what was going on with it because I know that you're not part of it anymore.
No, it collapsed like 3 years ago.
Okay, then that makes sense of why the listings I saw were all sort of like not really existent.
Actually, my business partner passed away.
Oh, really?
And he had moved to Arizona, and that was like one of these things out of nowhere, and so it was wild. Yeah.
Well, what else was there? There was a couple. Well, first of all, we did the King Superfans.
That Jimmy was fun,
and we were doing that back when we worked together
because we had nothing else to do during the day.
Right. Yeah. And then that was actually that was one of the things that like I really enjoyed.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was I feel like there was something else. Oh, the other thing that we did together, which was working with Tom with Silverwind. Silverwind.
Oh,
Silverwind USA and Deja Vu Electronics. Yeah.
Boy, that was garbage.
Yeah.
We had this.
It was.
That sucked.
It
was
sounded amazing. So I love Yoshida-san.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
The greatest guy in the world.
Yes.
And he had a connection in Japan.
So his name is Tom Yoshida.
Yeah.
And when we worked together at Charismac, Tom Yoshida was like our Japanese rep. So anytime we went to Japan, we hung out with Tom for the entire week, basically. Yeah. And he would take us around to all the restaurants.
And all over Japan.
All over to our meetings and everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Tom got with you, and he had a company he was representing that wanted to start an American arm of his Japanese company.
Okay.
And basically they wanted
to send refurbished computer equipment to the U.S. because they had such a surplus in Japan.
Okay. It was like used power supplies and like pieces out of PCs.
But we didn't know that part at first. It was just going to be cool equipment, and then all of a sudden we get containers of power supplies that nobody wanted.
Yeah. But didn't we sell quite a bit of that stuff?
Yeah, but we didn't make much money.
Oh.
We ended up selling a lot of stuff for cost.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But because I think I remember the thing sort of happened where the owner didn't want to send us their good stuff.
Cool stuff. Yeah.
And so our inventory was depleting and we didn't have anything to sell, and then they just pulled the plug on it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. that was good money.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing
Well,
that.
you got paid
Oh,
for
you
that.
made good money, but you
Yeah.
weren't making money.
Yeah.
The company wasn't doing
Oh.
anything apparently. Well, we were only doing it for like 6 or 7 months, I
Yep.
want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we had like websites to get up and a web store, and we had a warehouse with a dude like
Gosh.
inventorying stuff and taking pictures, and like it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
How crazy.
hmm I remember going to Tom Yoshida's house and having lunch and everything with all those guys.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
nice.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss all that stuff.
Jimmy is nostalgic.
I know.
I am. I'm a very
Right?
nostalgic
He
person.
loves it. So I have a question for you. So
Yes.
this happened to me over the weekend.
'Kay.
On my run.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm sure he's got his own.
So you're actively running all the time, yes?
Yeah, so a little over 2 years ago, I tore my meniscus playing basketball with my son.
Oh.
And then I ignored it, which is really smart. And
Oh.
so then I kept trying to run on it.
The
It got
yeah-buts.
really bad. And then I ended up literally gaining 20 pounds in about 8 months because I was still eating like an ultra runner.
Oh.
So then I finally said, it hurts. I was doing a consulting gig up at Microsoft as on a consulting team with some psychology thing.
Okay.
And I was on a run and my knee buckled. And so then I went down. So then I came back. I got an MRI. I promise I'll make this semi-short. But I get the MRI and the guy says, oh, your meniscus is like shredded chicken, he says.
Oh, wow.
But we don't want to take it out of there. And he said, you could probably, maybe you want to lose 20, 25 pounds. And I felt like
Oh, wow.
I was hurt. But then I was the
Bang.
guy. My wife was in the room with me, and I became like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, talking about I could throw that football over that mountain. You know,
Mhm.
I was like, I run 150 marathons. I run 10 100-mile runs as I sit there like 25 pounds overweight. And he's
Yeah.
like, sure you did, buddy.
Sure, of course you did.
Yeah, that's cute,
Yeah.
right? And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lose all that weight. 6 pounds. 6 months later, I'd gained 5 more pounds.
Oh.
And then I told my wife, I'm gonna do something about my knee. And she's like, are they just gonna tell you to lose weight again? And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, they probably.
So
are.
wait, you went and had your knee looked at, and it said it looked like shredded chicken, and then he told you to lose weight.
Well, no, I could get surgery.
Oh,
But he said you might want to just see what it would feel like
If you
losing
lost
a little weight.
the weight.
that seems kind of counterintuitive.
No, it was actually genius. So then I went on to lose about 18 pounds, and so now I'm back to running. Pretty much every day.
So the shredded chicken is no longer
No,
shredded?
it still bothers me. I
Oh.
have I wear a little compression brace, and I don't know if I could get back up to marathon stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I still kind of think I would like to, but that's where I'm
So
at right now.
So what? Let me ask you, what shoes do you wear?
I was sponsored by Brooks for a long time.
Okay.
And that was cool.
Mhm.
And so then the second I was done with Brooks, because then they started wanting real athletes, you know.
Oh.
Like,
Shit.
oh, Tony or somebody that's been to the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So then as soon as I was done with Brooks, although I had like a 30 pair still,
Mm-hmm.
but the second I went out and bought Hoka's,
Okay.
and then I dug those because they made me tall, truthfully, and I'm not a large man.
Uh-huh.
and so then I enjoyed those. And then right now,
We
I
don't
think-
judge.
so now I think I've got Brooks and Hoka's and Ultras, and I just bought some cool Adidas with Boost technology. I mean, so I've kind of got a little bit of everything. What are you running?
So I've been running in the
Classic Vans.
yeah, smart ass. Listen, fucker. If they slapped a Vans logo on a brick, you would try and
Oh, he would.
put laces on it and
Maybe.
wear it.
He would.
Yeah,
Maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
The Saucony's,
Oh, Saucony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been running in those after being put in them at Fleet Feet with zero complaints. A month or so ago,
hmm
I started to, I like pronate, so I started to get close on wearing through the tread. So I'm like, I'm trying to keep on top of the shoes. Shoes are
Let's say, how many miles you putting on them, Foo?
too many.
Okay, needs to be 500 or less.
Yes. So, what?
Are they recording?
Yeah.
These guys? These? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Just making sure.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So I'm getting ready to purchase new shoes, and have you been following the stuff with the Nike Alpha Flights?
Oh, yes.
Vapor Flies and Alpha Flies.
Yeah. Like they want to ban them or they're going to be.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm like, I tell you what, for science, I checked around with Will. Will ran the sim with me as well. He's the other guy that I think he's been on the podcast once or twice.
Yeah.
He's a runner, but younger. So I'm always trying to like keep up with the young
Yes.
guy. So I asked him, I'm like, do you know anyone that's bought some of these that's running? I'm like, what do you think? He's like, not my bag, and he didn't know anybody. So about a month or so ago, I'm like, I have to buy new shoes. For science, I'm going to buy a pair.
How much are they?
They're $250.
Not bad. I mean, bad. Yes, bad. I'm trying to justify it.
Right. They're higher than the Sauconys.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'll try it just to see if the hype is the
very
hype.
Curious.
Believe it. for me,
I am going to order them impulsively right this second.
Instantaneous. The first run, I'm like, okay, is this just bias? Like, do I feel? One, they are definitely softer.
Wait,
Okay.
are these the shoes you sent me a message like, it's the shoes?
It's
and I
the
said,
shoes.
It's the shoes, Mars?
Not a lie.
Okay.
I literally will buy them tonight. I will not be able to stop thinking about this.
My first run, I went, this is faster, and it put me in a place where I was actually, I was running faster than the breathing, and so I ended up starting to cramp because I was outpacing my typical pace, right?
He was
so
like in
I'm like,
second,
okay,
third grade.
this could just
I was
be-
seriously like, new
Yeah.
shoes. I can jump
New
higher.
shoes.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
run faster.
100%. I'm like, and if you follow, I've talked about buying like the plyometric shoes and trying to increase my vert for basketball. None of that shit worked for me.
Yeah.
But these, I was like, okay, I'll calm my shit. I'll run in them again the next night just to see if I'm
see a little placebo effect, little
Yeah.
confirmation bias.
No, bar none with less
Dang, fool.
I'm telling you.
Oh, I want them so bad.
With less
Okay.
fatigue, I was running at easily 10% faster across the board.
Wow.
I ran my 9 miles on Saturday, PR, since I'd been running, period,
Oh,
and what
wow.
was just supposed to be jog pace. Like 0 extra effort
Wow.
with significant
So
returns.
this is why people are thinking because that was that sub 2 hour marathon guy.
Yes,
right?
yes. He had a prototype of the Alpha Flies.
Okay.
So the carbon fiber plate that's inside. Now, the real story about Saturday's run was that it was the first time since I had been ever running suburban areas or anywhere where I had been bit by a dog.
Oh, that's my fear.
Oh, that hasn't happened to you?
No, so 30 seconds or less. When I 20 something years ago in Lincoln, I was running. I got chased by dogs. I almost got bit by one. I wrote a letter to the editor.
I remember this.
And that is when they said, "Hey, that's funny. Write anytime." And then I ended up writing 10 years humor column for the paper. But that's the closest I've come to getting bit by one.
Yeah.
But I am terrified of being bitten by a dog. So what happened?
I love, if you listen to the podcast, I love dogs. I'm a dog guy, but I think 2 or 3 back episodes we had talked about
Like,
how
it's creepy how
down
much he
here
loves dogs.
I love dogs.
It's creepy.
Spoons, but dogs. How down here in the suburban areas relative to the country, my kids know, please, you don't offer out the hand and you don't expect to be able to pet random dogs.
Uh-huh.
Like, ask the owner because you never know how the owners are raising dogs. He had an issue with Max like 2 weeks or so ago, and we had a pretty lengthy episode about talking about stranger dogs. Fast forward. So my protocol when I'm running is I love dogs, but I'm always like, I'm never offering up my hand,
No.
and I generally, as a dog owner, I will afford all the space to the owner of the dog. I'll give side eye to anybody that doesn't at least at the minimum have them on a leash.
Yeah.
A guy is coming at me. 2 dogs, German Shepherd-ish.
Oh,
So
They seem like they're the worst.
60, 70 pounds.
they're organized.
And I don't know the breed of the dog, but it's the one like Lady of the Tramp where they make fun of it because it can't see. It's like a nanny dog. I called it a nanny dog. They're big, fluffy,
Yet trained killers.
with bangs.
Yes.
So he's got these 2
And
dogs.
fangs.
The leashes are out of relative length. I am all the way over on the sidewalk, like already just trying to be like, hey, I'm not the dick runner who's going to take. I can do whatever. I see that you have dogs, so I'm going to get over as far as I can. So I'm on the inside. I've got foliage brushing up against the legs. And the guy kind of steps off, but he does have 2 dogs. So the German Shepherd sized is kind of in the bike lane, but safe. The sheep nanny dog is on my inside leg to me.
Yeah.
And I'm also a waiver, or at least an acknowledger.
Yes.
Like, have a good morning.
Thank you, by the way. That's what runners do, not those bikers. But anyway.
Yeah, those assholes. I'm at least a nodder.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, or like a half salute kind of thing.
Also, he does a goose step thing.
Yeah, I'll at least give you an acknowledgement that I
Especially
see
if there's
you.
a German
You don't
Shepherd
have to
around.
give anything
yes.
back, but I'll give you an acknowledgement. So the guy and his dogs get past me by like half a stride,
Okay.
and I'm still making eye contact to make sure we're good. And as I'm turning back to continue on, the nanny dog takes a lunge,
Oh,
A running start.
a running start. Now, we were talking about yoga pants. I was wearing yoga pants with like running shorts over the top.
Okay.
Like actually they're basketball shorts. Because I'm not allowed to just wear my yoga pants out
Okay, that makes more
because
sense.
my wife gets anyway, I'm not allowed to wear my ass yoga pants. So the dog takes a
They're
bite,
assless.
gets a full purchase
Oh, really?
of, and what it does is it snapped my yoga pants,
Oh, wow.
and then the dog's teeth caught in the basketball shorts.
Oh my gosh.
And so I am still in like trying to turn forward to
Were you screaming? I scream
No,
when dogs
well,
lunge at me like a young child.
and I had headphones in.
Okay.
So but I could hear of the shorts fabric tearing, and I didn't get finish the rest of the stride before I had just turned back and I went, okay. And I kept going.
Okay.
I was like, if this is already that far out of control,
Oh.
I just kept going.
Yeah.
But I got all the way through it, and then I got a text from my brother who's like, hey, I need to borrow the truck. And I'm like, I just got bit by a dog. And then I think maybe a couple minutes more, I had like this is so bizarre to me because it had never happened. I'm
Oh,
sending Jim
yeah.
a thing. No, Siri. I sent Jim a thing like, hey, I just got bit by a dog. And the first time since I've been running since
Oh, yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Still was on pace. It was crazy,
Oh.
but then I got home and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, I got bit by a dog, and I had like a mere. It didn't. I'm thankful for the yoga pants.
Yes.
because
Save the day.
they gave way, and the snap of what I can only feel gave him the feeling of I had something, but it's gone. But then his teeth were stuck.
That's that I
It's so bizarre to me because I'm like, and
I
Jim was livid.
I was way more angry than you were. Way more
Yeah.
angry.
And Mike was like, well, how'd that fucking go with the owner? And I'm like, I just kept running.
yeah.
Like,
I would,
to
I
me-
would too.
to
I'm
me-
not- yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
to me,
would've been-
one, the confrontation and the
Yeah.
anxiety part, like, and I wouldn't want to. It already like gives me the heebie-jeebies to think that the guy might have like hit the dog or something because
gotcha.
he was embarrassed about what the dog had done. It's hard for me to fault an animal
Mm.
when he may have just been working off instinct of protecting the
wasn't sure.
owner. Who's to say? But I'm like, one, man, I've still got 7 miles to go.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I was feeling really good because the shoes were awesome.
Yes.
So
if it hadn't been for those shoes, chunk out of your leg.
yeah,
Yeah,
who knows?
10%.
Thanks, Nike. Hashtag you can sponsor me.
Absolutely.
you
I
know?
would like a pair of
But I
shoes
mean,
as
like,
well.
that's what I was saying. Like when that thing happened with Max and myself and Melanie,
Yeah.
like I lit into the dude. Like the dog's fine. It's not the dog's fault. It's the owner's fault. Like I lit
Yeah.
into the guy. I was
Yeah.
furious. Like when I feel the teeth,
Mm.
like I can feel the the movement of the air on my face from the dog's teeth. Like I was furious. And that right there, that was even closer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially if you took a little hit on the skin.
Yeah.
That's just not acceptable. That's him. That is not the dog. That is him. That's wrong. That pissed me off when I was reading it.
It's like I would want, because I was passionate about the owner when he, right?
Yeah.
It was in
See,
our
it's
roles.
funny. Everybody's having these different experiences.
Yeah.
I would just worry about soiling myself.
Oh.
And you're like the owner,
Yeah.
and you're like the
Oh.
dog, and
Yeah.
I'm like my shorts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Fucking my clothes. So it was, and Venus is like, well, you just see if you bruise. So I ended up like shaving the spot just to make sure that I knew exactly where the dog had bit me, just in case it.
Yeah.
I'm like, see, that's where the dog. But it ended up nothing. The yoga pants are fine. The yoga pants survived.
Thank goodness.
Basketball shorts, my wife made me throw away because I don't know. I could have got.
Are you on Strava, Foo?
No.
Okay.
I have it.
Yeah.
But I don't use it. I'm happy with
The
the
Apple Watch
Apple
thing?
Tracker
Okay.
stuff. And before that, it was the Garmin's.
Okay. But when I talked about myself soiling myself,
Mm-hmm.
so I did the Davis Half Marathon a few years ago.
Yeah.
Turkey Day one with my daughter and my wife, and it was mile 2 or 3, and I had new compression shorts on, and I thought I had to pass a little gas,
Oh boy.
and I soiled myself,
Yeah.
and I stopped in a porta potty, told my wife and daughter to go on,
Yeah.
and then checked things out, and yeah, I need to get rid of those compression shorts.
Yeah.
But it had been raining, and so I couldn't get them off over my shoes. I have to take my shoes off, the whole thing. So I'm in there for quite a while.
Yeah.
So then I come out of there,
In a porta potty.
yeah,
no less.
with no compression shorts on now, and I take off running so fast. For the next mile, I passed hundreds of people because it was like so many. Catch my wife and daughter, and then okay, this is great. And we have a great time.
Yeah.
So then I go look later on Strava, and I was like the 3rd fastest in the history of like this one street, like the Strava segment. So if you go look on the Davis, whatever, this one street, I'm still like the local legend or whatever. And it was because of soiling myself.
Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's
funny.
inspirational story.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that situation happen this weekend at Mighty Park. So, except I wasn't running. I was just walking with the dog, and it was like,
Yeah,
oh,
we're getting old, Jimmy.
I was like, I told my wife, I got to go.
Yeah.
We either have to. I don't think I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And I almost did not.
Are you fucking with me?
No, I'm dead serious.
So this was like the Sun City mud
This
butt
was
thing
on-
that I had that one time on the run.
Yeah, we were out on a walk, and like it just hit me like there's
Something's
an
happening.
issue.
You will not
and
be able to pucker this the whole way.
The pressure was getting vast and great,
Yeah.
and like I said, I can't. I have to go back, and like Shannon was like, "Well, we get the car. Or you can use the Target bathroom or something." I'm
I
like,
said
"No,
Target bag.
I don't think that we're gonna make it that far."
Yeah.
And luckily, the bathroom's at the Diamond.
Man.
They're in the middle of the Diamonds.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things too, where I got in there and things happened, and then the sweat came because I was it
The
was
flop sweat.
Yes.
I think you told this story when I was on before, but the one about your cat.
Oh yeah. That's
Bear?
a real bear. That was a real thing that happened. That's still one of the funniest things that ever happened.
Did you
to
go
me.
to London with me and we were on a double-decker bus in the rain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I never have had to pee so bad in my entire life. To the
I
point
remember
where I
freezing
was
my
like,
ass
I
off.
am going to do this on the top of this double-decker bus. I don't care because it's raining, and I went up there, and then I was like, moment of truth, and I couldn't, and then they stopped, and we went into the Harrods,
Oh.
and I
yeah.
was doubled over, and that to this day, that
I remember that.
that was bad.
Excruciating pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When a grown man gets to the point where he's overseas on a double-decker bus, and he's like, I am just gonna pee.
Yeah. It's
odd.
Where was he talking?
Yeah.
I think we ended up in Discord after the podcast where I was talking about the Sun City mud butt.
Yeah.
The doubling over
Oh,
of
yeah.
just like the most intent. And Will goes, there's something about runners and being able to just openly talk about poop.
I was
realizing
doing
this is very cathartic and
Yeah.
enjoyable, but I thought, can we put a little note on the ones that for virtual podcast, virtual couch podcast fans, tune out at about 57 minutes.
Yeah.
All the stuff about the brain,
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
you all look at me a little bit different, and
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just skip that part. We'll
Oh
just
man. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Hey,
Like,
can I tell you something
almost
about
didn't make it.
anxiety?
go.
Oh.
Okay, this was one more fun brain fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the physiology of anxiety is fascinating. So going back to the way that the brain wants to protect you. So the brain did not evolve to become a feel-good device. It's a don't get killed device,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So your brain is like, and I always
It's
think about
caveman
when
status.
I go talk about this, when I go speak, I say it was only a few hundred years ago where you had to bring in a court gesture to bring laughs. Like we were not designed to crack jokes and laugh and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the court gesture was not funny, what did they do?
They
Killed
killed
it.
him.
Killed him.
Yeah.
Like literally killed him.
Well, honestly, if his set was that bad,
Yeah.
he deserved
I
it.
hear you,
Yeah.
and I would have been killed many times
Yeah.
over. But so that just sets the stage. So now we're constantly worrying about the things that will most likely never happen. Will I lose my job? Will I
Yeah.
get cancer? Will I this? Will I that? And so then our brain thinks it's doing us a favor by worrying, because back in the day, if we turn the corner and we aren't worried, there's a saber-tooth tiger there, and
Right.
we only
Let
got
your
one
guard down.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're dead. So you
Yeah.
have to default to the negative.
Yeah.
For this worry. But then the fascinating thing when you learn about what over time, when you worry, your heart rate elevates, and you probably maybe already know this, but then your brain produces cortisol, the stress hormone. And I've gotten to do this is the thing where I am still a buffoon, but because of my podcast, people think that I know what I'm talking about. So I've gotten to be
Also,
a part of
don't-
like this.
Don't listen to this part either.
Right? No,
Yeah.
but I've gotten to be part of some of these treatment teams for people getting these like literal brain scans to see how they work and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there in lab coats with real doctors and my client. And they're like, what do you think, Tony? I'm like, I agree. Whatever they say. But in one of these, we're looking at a functional brain scan, and when the heart rate elevates and this cortisol raises, so your heart rate elevates, your brain produces cortisol, the stress hormone, and you watch the front of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. It's like turning off light switches, and that's where the logical part of your brain is. And your amygdala, the fight or flight response, it just starts glowing. It starts getting more.
Really?
And so then so when you are anxious, your heart rate elevates cortisol. So then you aren't even capable of logical thought.
So the cortisol blocks some of those thoughts.
So like I'm a huge mindfulness guy. I do the Headspace app like every day for 6-7 years now. And so what you're doing is you're training your brain that when I notice I am thinking and my heart rate starts to elevate, then this dude is going to, again, deeply read neural pathways, he's going to like,
Kill
I'm
something?
doing it right now.
Oh.
You square yourself off and you're in through the nose, out through the mouth breathing. And what you're doing is you're lowering your heart rate, which reduces cortisol, which gets you to tap back into your logical part of your brain. So when look at a teenager or a kid, I mean, they are living in the amygdala constantly.
Right.
So when
That's
you're
my
like,
daughter
you
right
must
now.
calm down, right? You're making them even get more high. So there's no logic going on.
Right.
Yeah. So I think when people talk about anxiety, I love just telling people about the physiology of anxiety, because the more you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm worried. You're basically raising your heart rate even more, producing more cortisol, shutting off more of your logical part of your brain. So you get in this little loop. So until you can kind of go,
Okay.
right?
Let's take a second here to.
Yeah, it's a trip. And then one other fun fact.
I recognize that.
Okay, it's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's funny because I think I probably used to have a little bit more of a temper at times, even back in our day. Maybe not a lot, probably not. But
you have always been pretty.
Just
even,
say it. He was a
even
dick.
tempered.
He was a short fused dick.
No,
Come on, Jim.
absolutely
But
not.
I was gonna say now, because of all this, I mean, honestly, this mindfulness stuff, and my wife will laugh about this, but let's say I'm driving, a car pulls right in front of me. I mean, I don't think I can get mad anymore, because it's like I'm noticing that car. That is fascinating. He is putting us at danger, because if I try to get elevated, my heart rate's like,
This
calm it
gentleman
down.
has crossed me.
Exactly.
And that
How
is
dare you.
mildly irritating. However.
Although, if a dog is there, I will scream like a young
Oh,
child.
yeah.
And then one other fun fact, and this is my last thing that I think is so fascinating that I want to tell the world about, is that this thing called psychological reactants. This is amazing. And what that is, it's the instant negative reaction of being told what to do. And so whenever we tell, let's say that our kids are freaking out, we're like, dude, you need to calm down. If you tell somebody you need to do this,
right.
then we have it built into us. It's innate. This reactance is that we are going to do the opposite, because it's they say that it's survival mechanism, so we don't get dominated by like an alpha male or a corrupt society. So even when we tell our own brain, this is why thought suppression doesn't work. If I say do not think of a chocolate cake, my brain is like doing it right now.
Oh yeah.
So if somebody tells you need to calm down, we literally are like, I will not calm down.
Right.
It's a survival mechanism.
Don't tell me to calm down.
Yeah. So then imagine then somebody's getting they're starting to freak out, and if you're just like you just need to whatever you say next, they're not going to do.
They're in opposite mode.
Yeah,
They're
that
flipped it.
reactance mode. So you start to see how the whole system gets a little bit out of whack.
Right.
Like even if you're telling yourself, I just gotta calm down, then your brain's like, don't calm down.
No.
And then it raises your heart rate, which produces more cortisol, which shuts off the prefrontal cortex, which gets the amygdala going, and all of a sudden it's like, what's wrong with me? And then again, nothing. You're a human being. It starts to all make sense.
It's really interesting too, because one of the things that came with the watch, was a meditation thing.
Yeah.
And I just left everything on just to see some of the.
Did you turn off wash your hands? That one drives me nuts.
I don't have that one on.
Okay.
But the fitness, the movement, and when I had first bought it, the movement, the exercise, and the breathing one, I left all of those on, and then I left like the nanny nagging, like, hey, you haven't stood up, and I'll leave it on just to see like how often it kicks in. The breathing meditation one that it has you do, I've been interested if Shan
It's pretty cool.
has it or uses it, but it's
I don't know.
hey, now's a good time you want to do the breathing exercise, and it essentially just dead in the tracks, stop for a minute, and then it vibrates on a breathe in.
It's so cool.
And a breathe out.
I'm feeling like I need to get me an Apple Watch.
It is.
Oh yes.
It's.
You must do it. Now
I
your brain's
must.
like, I will
I'm not gonna
no,
do it.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I wouldn't get one of them.
You should not buy one.
Yes.
I guess I
it's
won't.
very cathartic. That
Yeah.
something that I didn't think. I'll often take, as someone that's been working from home for quite some time. I take my stand breaks and I'll look at something else to give my eyes a break and whatnot. But I had never really taken a moment to just, all right, shut everything off sensory and just sit there and let something proctor me through a breathing exercise to just take you out of everything else and just.
Well, and I like that you're bringing this up too. One of the biggest fallacies of mindfulness or meditation that people talk about is people will say to me, "Oh, I've tried it. I can't clear my thoughts." And yeah, nobody can. What you're doing is the apps will. I mean, that one's amazing because the way it vibrates on your that one's so good.
Right. So you don't have to.
No, and then but a guided meditation app like I use this Headspace. The dude will talk you through a breathing exercise, which I love, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, like 3 or 4 times. So again, now I know we're lowering our heart rate, and then it'll just be quiet. And so for about 10 or 15 seconds, your brain's saying, "This is dumb. I have lots of things to do. I can't believe I'm doing this." And then it'll say, "Okay, now focus on a sound in the room." And you're like, "Okay, I hear that." And then all of a sudden it's like, "And this is stupid, and I have lots of things to do." And then it's like, 30 seconds later, he's like, "Okay, now just focus on your breathing." And you are training your brain that when I notice I am thinking, then I'm going to just come back to a sound, a breathing, a smell, because that will lower your heart rate. So you're never trying to clear your mind.
Right.
You're just noticing thought that might be ruminating, might
you're
be worrying.
You're replacing thought with some noticeable
presence.
Yeah.
Bring yourself back to the present.
I do that if I have a trouble like going to sleep at night.
Yeah,
I focus on my breathing, and when I focus on my breathing it doesn't even take that long.
No.
Start to focus on the breathing, and then the other things that are going on in my brain that are like triggering me to stay awake.
Yeah.
Those sort of fade away, and then you wake up.
You know what and I love that. There's one that I do every night before I go to bed, and this is a really cool one. You can do it anytime, but you breathe. You count 1 on the in breath, 2 on the out breath, 3 on the in breath, and try to get to 10. And it's wild. Sometimes you're like 1, 2, 3, and then it's like tomorrow at work I have to. And when you notice it, you just go, huh. 1, 2, 3, and every now and again, all of a sudden I'm like at 14, 15, because it's like I blew right past 10.
Oh,
so it's just a cool thing. So when you notice, then you come back to.
It's
so cool.
There's a movie where I think I first saw this. It's Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. She's president.
The political thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
and
pretty
they're
good.
they're in some foreign country being shelled or something, and he's having a panic attack, and she like a SEAL Team 6 breathing exercise where you're like, for every second you perform an in or an X, and it brings you back down.
It's pretty cool.
Anyway,
isn't that fun?
Yeah,
I feel like we should just be hanging out all the time for these little nuggets.
I would talk about this stuff all day, and I enjoy running, and I enjoy your whole story about
Can
Tokyo Disneyland.
Can you still dunk?
No. Those were the days.
I know.
So
nobody believes it.
You had just mentioned that you were speaking in Utah. Did you had you happened to hear the podcast where I was talking about dunking?
No.
Okay, so there I ran across.
Are you a dunker?
No, no.
Just donuts.
Yeah.
Enjoy those.
Hey, I ran across something randomly that was a gentleman who was starting who had started a dunk camp. He was approaching 40 and he could dunk, but had gone through adult life and had lost his step and whatnot. And so he was trying to then get back to being able to dunk.
Wow.
And participate in actual dunk contests.
Wow. And
he ended up starting a camp in Utah to help others.
Wow.
And it's like
That'd
it's like a dad thing, or young people that are just trying to figure out an increased jump or stride, how you're hitting your strides, whatnot, exercises, plyometrics, And he had mentioned that your basketball time and your baseball time and running, that you could.
It was wild. I mean, I'm a 5'7", 5'8" dude, but my whole family has these weird genetics of jumping was what we could do.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I could never palm a ball because I have tiny little hands. But a couple times in high school, I could get up and I would do the little finger roll over the rim, turn it, and snap it, so that people thought I could dunk. And it was so fun. And I got one goaltending call like my junior year because I went up behind somebody and tried to take one out of the rim. So it was just fun, you know? Yeah.
I gotten close, but I was still probably 2 inches. I was telling him I couldn't palm. Even though I'm taller, I still have smaller hands.
Yeah.
So my problem was I couldn't dribble it, but I could get a carry and get it real close, but nothing was, I would always lose ball purchase, and it was just Yeah.
I never had it.
No,
I could never jump.
So my son is a phenomenal basketball player. This is his senior year,
Yeah.
and he's 6'2", and he can dunk really
Oh,
well.
good for
How
him.
did
And
he get to be 6'2"?
That was the only thing I prayed for every day and night, Jimmy.
What happened?
That was it. I didn't care about anything
They
else.
come from your wife, or what's the deal?
I have a tall grandpa and a tall uncle.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's
6'4"
there.
and 6'3". So it literally, but he's ranked in the area, and he's got
Good
some
for him.
offers already. But then COVID it was a nightmare.
Oh.
But so this is senior year. We're hoping we'll get through the whole thing without stuff shutting down.
Yeah.
But I mean, his whole goal is to dunk in traffic in a game, and oh my gosh, I want it so
So
bad.
I would imagine he's being looked at by schools and
Yeah,
stuff.
we've been. Yeah, he's already had a few offers, which is kind of cool.
I was kind of
So did
wondering
he-
how that was.
Yeah,
through
going for
through
kids who-
COVID,
yeah.
did you? I ran over you. Go.
Well, I was just kind of wondering how that was going for kids who have this talent, right?
It was bad.
Really?
It really is. It really is.
But I
'cause
mean, I guess to a certain extent, this being a senior year right now
Yes.
probably is better than it being last year.
absolutely. But you know what?
But what
yes.
happened to the kids last year that were going off to college that had these
It was,
athletic chops? Did they just not get
a lot of
picked?
them haven't been. Yeah.
So
I mean,
the schools didn't have a lot of sports going on anyway, so
Right.
they just weren't picking up kids to
well, so
come
like one of the
participate?
kids that played with him at Lincoln High got an offer at a junior college, and then they just shut the season down. So I mean, he just didn't even play. So
So what if you end up at a school with a scholarship
Mm-hmm.
for, say, basketball or
Yeah.
anything really, and then they shut the season down? Does that jeopardize your scholarship?
It's not supposed to. But yeah, so it didn't last year. So we'll have to see. But
Interesting.
honestly, though, he was working out really hard during the beginning of the pandemic. We had this trainer. We put in this little gym at home. He's working out 2 times a day. He gets up to, he's like 6'2", 175. He's dunking, he's whatever. And then he got COVID, and it was really bad.
Mm.
And so then he lost 20 pounds. He threw up during the little mini season they had last April, May, every game. And then we ended up having some tests done on him, and it had done a number on his liver. And yeah, he was like one of those guys that has the long haul. they would call it.
The long.
Oh.
And so he's
Yes,
now
yeah.
coming back, but it just it was so
wrecked him.
sad.
So
Yeah.
where I was going to go was what I had noticed. One of the young bucks that was going to run with me on my half,
Mhm.
he does cross country.
I remember hearing these stories
for the high school, and he. I was looking at the local high school's cross country team after having missed essentially all of last year with COVID. This year's cross country times, their first meets were all some of the same guys, same guys and girls. Their times after missing essentially a year were 30 seconds to almost a minute in some cases off because they lost
Slower?
a whole slower because they
okay.
had lost a year.
Yeah.
Now the one young man, I think he's caught up, and I think he might be 5 to 10 seconds off his what essentially was his junior year, but I don't think he's past it.
Man.
But if he had, he probably would have. So I was going to ask, but you already covered, like how was your son staying in shape through? But you mentioned it.
And now he's kind of back, and they've started practicing, and games actually start this Saturday, and so I can't wait. This is
That's fascinating to me because you're like, oh, I'm at a tournament in whatever city.
He played for the Compton Magic. He was there was funny memes of going. He was the one white kid on the Compton Magic, and we went to Alabama and Vegas and LA.
Really?
Oh yeah, Portland, and I mean, he's done travel ball forever, and it was a blast just going there and just watching him play. And
Did that help his skill
yeah.
quite a bit?
Yeah, and
Because you're playing up now with the other guys.
The guys on his team were one guy signed at UCLA, one guy signed at Baylor, one guy signed. I mean, they were just
phenomenal
And
players.
Who is he? Does he have any schools that are?
So COVID got him this summer, so he ended up going to these tournaments and really not playing because he kept getting sick. So then he didn't end up signing with anybody, and they already had the early signing period. So then now it would be after the season. So
would he have to go to a school and do walk on or something?
No, I hope he will still get an offer after the season.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
When does season start?
Saturday.
Yeah.
You guys have to come.
I like basketball.
It'd be fun.
I would.
Yeah.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
And where's the game at?
This one, Wheatland or something.
Wheatland?
Well, I'll give you the schedule. You have to come
Okay.
and watch one in Lincoln because it'll be fun.
Okay.
We're at time.
I know this was what a blast, gentlemen.
Oh man,
Hey,
I could do this every
Me
week.
too. I think it would be fun to
be
get you
honest.
on the virtual couch. What mental health things could we talk about?
All of it. I'm
All
just
of
fucked
things.
up. I'm really
Okay.
screwed up.
You wouldn't believe the things that he draws and sends me. They're
So we could do
inappropriate.
PTSD for you,
Okay.
and
yeah.
then like impulse control disorder for you.
Yeah.
But sure,
I'm in.
because my hands are in my pants right now.
Yeah.
I noticed
like,
that. It's
"Does-
very uncomfortable.
Does this look like a smashed pizza to you? And I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
That's your zipper. It's too much, Jim.
But why does that look like a pepperoni?
Yeah, that's
the
not
heck?
I
appropriate.
hope my fans have tuned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye. You see, we're all done here.
Now, do you listen to the end of our shows if you're listening?
Not always.
Okay. You know what we do at the end?
I'm trying to remember, and I want to be like, yeah, but you guys tell me. But I can't.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. Don't forget to return the cart.
Wear the mask
Oh,
if you have one.
and brush your teeth.
I'll say the wash your ass one.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I know that. And
Wait. Here.
there's probably another good one on there.
I don't know what. Yeah, don't read the beef
Oh.
one.
Oh, get the shot.
There you
I'm
go.
not ready to get my booster, by the way.
And do the
Are you?
kind-
Yeah.
I
I'm ready.
saw that Pfizer was looking to get approval for all adults.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a couple weeks late as a mental
Yeah.
health professional. I mean,
Yeah, Shanna's
oh,
back.
you're-
yeah, I should have got it.
Yeah.
Shanna's she's
Did she get hers?
no, she's a little afraid. We can talk about this.
I'm getting them in
Okay.
both arms. I'm ready.
Venus is just on deck because her 6 months is coming.
Yeah.
My dad got his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the shot.
My 6 months was
Do the
August.
kindness.
What?
My 6 months was August.
Oh dang,
So yeah, you're due.
you're beyond.
My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, you should leave.
Get the shot.
Get the shot. Do the kindness.
Yes.
And we'll catch you next week.
Take it easy, everybody. Thanks
Goodbye.
for listening.
Bye.